Well, the season is in swing, but we're always looking to get better. And how are we going to do that? We're going to look at plays. Stick around. Greetings and welcome back to 5 Play Friday, the show where we look at plays so we can get better as basketball officials. Why don't we get started right away today with our very first play? See the ruling and make a judgment of your own, what you have on this play. Let's take a look at our first play. All right, the ruling on the court, held ball. Put your ruling in the show notes, in the comments below, and tell us what you have on this play. All right, and with that, let's take a look now at play number 2. All right, we have a no call at one end, transition play, block charge play at the basket. Let's look at all the things, because that's what we do as here at 5 Play Friday, right? What is the ruling on this play? Very confident lead official comes up with a charge, right? No doubt about it. Great demeanor, great presence on the court. Let's take a look. Legal defender, moving. She was moving, right? The ref, she's moving, right? Well, you know we're going to hear that. At the position of our lead official, right? Where do we want to be at this moment, right? This play has pushed ahead quickly. Where do we want to be? It's pretty clear where we would want to be. We'd want to be right here at the end line, ready to receive the play. And then we'd have this look on the play, right? In the absence of that, we have a stacked look on this play as the lead. If we notice our center's in great position on the play. It's a question of whether we need to fight for this call as lead on this play. But in the end, we have a call from lead. We're going to make the call with the information that we have available to us, right? We picked up that defender. We ended up with a stacked look, but we get call correct on the play. So takeaways on the play for me would be great demeanor by the calling official, confident and assured. We know that the player was moving, but they had established legal guarding position. Before the player goes airborne, they have established their position in the path of the shooter. Call correct. I love the dad in the stands waving his arms. All right, great play scenario. Let's take a look at our next play. All right, ruling on the floor, player technical foul on our defender for contacting the ball during a throw-in. That's the ruling on the court. Player technical, contacting the ball during a throw-in, right? Let's look at all of the things on this play in terms of administration of the game. When we have a throw-in this situation in front of the bench, right? What is our throwing player allowed? They are allowed 3 feet of area minimum for them to work with. Oftentimes when we have a situation where the player is in front of the bench, we will recognize that they could potentially step. They don't have the room behind them in this situation. Looks like they only have like a foot of room, right? We could have a player in this situation actually step onto the court and that be legal. But something we would be obligated to do here is move our defender back to create that, imaginary area of 3 feet to give our thrower room to operate. So this is a really tight environment on this court. It's obvious it's tight all the way around. And we have to recognize that and create situations of fairness on the court. So that's something that's obvious from that. But let's move forward. Right? What is the restriction here on this play? A defender is not allowed to break the plane, the throw-in plane, boundary plane, and contact the basketball during a throw-in. Until what point? Understanding that once the throw-in is released, the defensive player may, at that point, extend through the boundary plane and contact the basketball legally. The restriction on contacting the basketball ends. The restriction on the plane ends when the ball is released on the throw-in. So that's just a fact, and that's something we have to be aware of on this play. Was the ball released here? I don't think so. I think the ruling may be accurate. Let's take a look in slow motion at all of the things. Right? Right. We've really put this thrower in a tough scenario by allowing that defensive player that proximity on the play, and the thrower has no room to go back. If the defensive player in this instance broke the plane and contacted the basketball, that is a player technical. If the offensive player had extended the ball over the court through the boundary plane and the defensive player contacts the basketball, this is a legal play. Tough on this angle, but it's great to see these kind of plays so that we can get our mind thinking about all of the things. In this situation, I would look to have better administration of the throw-in. Better administration of the throw-in, giving our thrower a fair opportunity to make the throw-in, moving our defender and saying, and giving them a clear signal of where our imaginary boundary would be in a situation like this, but just recognizing the environment we're in, etc. Also, the other thing here is we've got the coach, right? And this is always a variable. During throw-ins in front of an opponent's bench, our coach and their proximity and what they're doing. Sometimes we'll have a coach that's standing here or a coach that's standing here, sort of in our way, right? And they can sometimes act as sort of a third defender. They're waving their arms around, a little bit of distraction for our thrower. We could ask them to move or say, Coach, why don't you step back? Because your toe, right, is on the court. In this instance, they're super engaged with their team and they're trying to direct, they're obviously coaching their team, right? They may be completely unaware of their, proximity or proximity to the court, right? But something we have to be aware of in these throw-in situations in front of the bench. We could ask the players on the bench to tuck their feet back, right? Hey, can you move your feet back? They'll do it. It's just a simple game administration thing for me on this play. So a great play. Ruling is the ball was touched by the defender by violating the boundary plane. This is a player technical foul by rule. It would also incur a delay of game warning for that team for the remainder of the game. etc. Those two things would go hand in hand. If there had already been a delay of game warning, the player technical overrides any second technical that would be in effect there. So it's a great play scenario for us to look at, right? Refresh our memory about rules, look at the administration of the throw-in and the variables there, and for us to think about so that when we take to the court, we can be better as basketball officials. Hey, we've got a group of tremendous show supporters. Let's take a moment to thank them. Greg Becker, Bob Lloyd, Andrew Spigner, Randy Wilson, and Richard McGuire. Much appreciated and much love. You want to support the show? I'll always ensure that there's a link in the show notes below. And you know I'm going to do it. I'm going to put one up above. All right, fantastic. Let's move forward. All right, so we have a front court throw-in situation. Throw-in is completed. Ball is deflected. Loose ball situation. Foul by red. New lead. Old trail comes and gets it. Is this the correct ruling on the play? What are all of the things that we're looking at and considering on a play such as this? All right, so let's look first. Let's look first at the position of the crew during a throw-in, right? We have handed the ball to the thrower, and like we talked about on the previous play, our lead has taken a step back. What is our lead officiating on a play like this? They have to detect whether the thrower violates. They have to detect whether the defensive player violates the boundary plane, etc. Need to be aware of potentially of the activity that's out here. Good 45-degree angle, right? When we analyze game video, we're looking for the basics and fundamentals of a crew, even if it's not pertinent to the play, right? Our center's in great position. They are officiating off ball. Oh, I see. They are officiating off-ball action here. Trail has to pick up action here. What do we expect in a situation where red is running 4 flat here? The ball's probably going to be thrown above that, right? Oftentimes, being aware that throw-in plays are often designed for the thrower to be the subsequent player to get the ball. We want to be aware of that as well. All right, go there. Right, our trail is in perfect position on the catch. Open look on the play. Ball's deflected. White grabs the ball, attempts to throw ahead, and is fouled. The play blows up in front of the center. New lead. Puts a whistle on new lead, old trail, right? It's like they are actually the new lead, but we're a little bit that's not super clear in this situation. When did they become new lead? In the instant that White caught the ball, right? Then they're new lead, right? So we're still connected with the play, and we have a whistle. 4th period, close game. We want great rulings in the game. Is this the correct ruling? And would we shoot free throws if both teams were in the bonus? I didn't notice from the scoreboard whether they were, right? We need to, is this a loose, quote unquote, loose ball foul? Or do we have player control by white in this situation? These are the things that we have to think about on a ruling. So I say good get by the lead. This is an obvious foul. There is displacement. This play needs a whistle. We need to be aware that the white had gained control. If they were in the bonus, they would be due bonus free throws in this situation. That's what I have on that play. What do you have? I say, yes, we do. I see this kid from white who was trying to pass the ball ahead. Man, that is a quick thinker right there. That kid is a quick thinker. Chris, as usual, with a key nugget and a key takeaway. When we analyze our game video and our partner makes a call that maybe what we felt was incidental contact, or we felt that the call was incorrect based on our angle on the play, what is our demeanor? Are we like, right? Do we have anything that's not supporting the call by the official? Or are we, great call, partner, great call, right? Is that just our demeanor and our energy on the court? We want to have that habitual action because our partner is going to be receive negative energy from the coach on a call like this, etc. And if we have our crew expressing body language that says you should not have made that call, that was obviously not the correct call, etc. And right, so when we analyze our game video, right, your partner makes a call, what is your body language? What is your demeanor? Is it supporting your crew? Is it neutral? Or is it not supporting your crew, right? Make those evaluations, especially on plays where you think, ooh, I don't know about that one, right? I thought he got it clean up top, etc. So, Thomas, therein lies the question. What if white had not caught the ball? What if the ball had simply had gained an advantageous position on the play? It would really depend on kind of what happened next. In situations like this where there is clear displacement, like let's say instead two players are going for the ball and they are both going like this, and at some point they have equal position on the court and just explode. They really, they're coming from a more severe angle in pursuit of the ball. Neither gets the ball and they, just bang into each other really hard. In this situation, we can have a train wreck, an absolute train wreck with no call. But for me, when I see player A is in pursuit of the ball and they have an advantageous position and are about to get the ball, and they are contacted in this fashion in a way that prevents them from playing basketball further, right? Then that's a foul on the player who did not have position. That's my mindset on a play like this. So you could take that for what it's worth. I mean, that's the thinking. It's just so you have to make a judgment on a crew and how we've pre-gamed and how we're officiating this game. Plays that need whistles in our judgment, right? Well, we don't put a whistle on the play. We expect our partner. We leave it up to our partner. It's an obvious foul. Does that make our game better? Does that make our game worse? Right? We want to trust, but we also want to have overall big picture views, right? If we have a game, crew, you philosophy, we're going to put the game ahead of a crew member, right? It's the balance, right? We say trust our partner, call the obvious. Right? Or call the obvious. Referee the defense, call the obvious, and trust your partner. Right? In that sequence. So that's a great point. Yep. All right. It's a great play. It's a great play for discussion. This would be, all right. So this would be a great play to bring into your pregame, right? Even if it's on your phone, right? We have a play like this. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about referee the defense, call the obvious, trust your partner. Let's talk about that. Now let's also talk about obvious fouls in the game. Shall we put a whistle on it, or shall we say, no, that's my partner's area. I see it's an obvious foul, but I'm not going to put a whistle on it, right? It can be a great discussion in pregame about how we're going to officiate that game. Video clips, when we bring them into our pregame, even if it's just on a phone, can often inspire discussion that leads to other areas as well, right? Consider that in your very next game. All right, a great play to talk about all of the things, right? Again, we have a sideline throw-in on the play. This looks like a high school game. Let's look at all the things on this play, right? So if we look and see the thrower, not only did they travel out of bounds along the sideline, but they may have contacted the ball before establishing inbounds. To establish inbounds after being inbounds, obviously, all the thrower would have to do is have 1 foot contact in the court and nothing that's contacting outside of the court. The out of bounds area, if we see that, not clear that they established in bounds. They are out of bounds, out of bounds, out of bounds, out of bounds. Then they become inbounds at that point. We're obscured, but it appears based on the physics involved that we should have had a violation, an out of bounds violation on that, right? So in this instance, our trail official bounces the ball to the thrower for a sideline throw-in, right? Look at the action by White where they sort of reach out, right? We love players being competitive with one another and the engagement that they have to a certain extent, right? Watch the behavior by one, right, where he taps or reaches out to tap his opponent in this situation, right? They may have been going back and forth all game long, in a competitive fashion, and we love to see that, but we don't want anything to cross the boundary, right? We don't want that same action on an airborne shooter, right? But we have a throw-in. We have screening action that the lead would be observing. Received. Our thrower runs out of bounds, re-enters. Looks like we have a swipe down on the elbow there. Extended leg by the thrower. Our lead, with zero room to get any sort of perspective on the play, puts a whistle on the play. From lead on a three-point shooter, you can't do that in high school, can you? Right? If we think about officiating where our partner cannot, I call this, when this throw-in is made by the trail, I call this being in jail. You, as the official administering the throw-in, you are stuck. There's players between you and the action, right? 24 is obscuring your view. You can't get an angle. You're stuck, right? And that stuck I refer to as being in jail. We also like the reaction by one, White one here in the corner. Love it. Love it. All right, but what do we have on this play? Let's take a look. Throw in. But it's interesting to hear from Chris Janish on the play whether he had the foul on the swipe down or was it leg contact, right? Our shooter extends a leg. Is that a natural movement on the play? Interesting, right? Cadence whistle as lead. We understand that is the trail's call to make as we outline the mechanics. But in the absence of a call from the trail, which wouldn't be a surprise on a play like this, then come with a whistle on a foul. So a great clip that helps us, start to look at all the things that we analyze in our game video. And we appreciate having the opportunity to do that. That was controversial. Let's review play number one. All right. Tough play. The ruling is held ball, right? If an airborne player, if a defensive player contacts the ball when a player is airborne and prevents the release either of a try or a pass, then a held ball ruling should be ruled. Is that what happens on this play? Let's go here. Ultimately, this try is released. I do not believe that would be the correct ruling on this play. The real question here is, was this player fouled, right? Was there contact with the ball that made the subsequent contact incidental on a play like this, right? Of course, we are in an end of game situation. Let's look at our clock. Right, we're throwing in with 5.9 seconds to go. Red is trailing by 2 points. End of game situation. Need to be aware of time and score. We're thinking through strategy, etc. We don't know if we've come out of a timeout here for this sideline throw-in. We don't have that information. If so, we would certainly expect to get together as a crew, and we're going to talk about all of the things, be aware of timeout situation, foul situation, potential strategy options that may be employed going into the situation, right? So let's assume we're armed with all of that. If we look at positioning by the crew, right? Not ideal position as center on this play. We'd rather be in a low position here with an open look on this matchup. Do we have ball contact that renders the subsequent arm contact and body contact as incidental on this play? That is really what this play is all about. All right. To me, I think our center is out of position. And the other thing that happens on this play that we have to be aware of is ultimately a held ball is ruled, and there's not an awareness by the crew necessarily who had the held ball, who had the possession arrow in this situation. If we're going to make proper judgments and rulings at the end of the game, we need to know that in advance. That's something else I would say. But our center picks up the defender here, has to transfer their eyes on this multiple defenders. I have a foul. That's an obvious foul to me. That arm contact, he goes through the arm to get to the ball. You know, I know that in the NBA, if the ball is contacted first, then subsequent contact can be ruled incidental. I just do not see that on this play. Let's get forensic. Right? So we definitely have arm contact. Do we have ball contact on this play first? If we had ball contact first, that ball would have moved. That's what I'm going to say on this play. If we had ball contact before the arm contact, the ball would have moved. And it did not move, right? So our shooter, right, the contact on the arm moves the hand and the ball back together. So if we get super forensic, and the ball never moves, right? So if we had ball contact, that ball would have moved. For me, this is an obvious foul, and that should have been the ruling on this play. That's another aspect of this play, is the behavior of the player who was, let's say, knocked to the floor and a foul call was not ruled, right? Is their behavior aggressive towards the official in disagreement, or is their behavior, I cannot believe it, right? Incredulous, I believe would be the word. Lakers fan, I agree with you. So we have an incorrect ruling on the play, right? So it doesn't lend a lot of support. Laker fan says clean block. I do not see that on this play. I see an obvious foul. I see forearm contact on an airborne shooter. Right? Elbow contact. Might have been simultaneously, but there's just too much contact on this play. Right? That is a foul. We have taken away Red's opportunity in this situation. If, of course, we have a resulting throw-in with .3, then we would know all of the things as well. In a situation like this, that the team could not catch and release a try, etc. As usual, another great play, great discussion play. There's going to be disagreement between officials, but we're looking at all the things, trying to get better as basketball officials. A classic from the vaults, a fun play. We like to see fun plays. Obviously, we wish nothing but the best for our Windmilling Player, but this is a better official favorite play. Brings a smile every time. I'm sure she was okay on this play. We don't want players getting hurt, but a fun play to wrap up the show. Before we go, take a moment, do all the things. Hit like, subscribe, and notify. It really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And do allow me a moment again to thank our tremendous show supporters. Greg Becker, Bob Lloyd, Andrew Spigner, Randy Wilson, and Richard McGuire. Much appreciated and much love. Yes, there is a link down in the show description. And of course I'm going to do it. Of course I'm going to put one. No. Up above. Awesome. We have additional video content available for you. I've put 2 possible videos for you to watch here. In either case, make your choice, choose wisely, and we'll see you, yes indeed, in the very next video. Take care, everybody.